Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second official episode of Short Sports. I am Gianna Cephalou, and I am joined alongside my co-host, this time not Zach Janis, but Cole Bagley. Cole, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing better now that NBA season's back. I find myself I really don't know what to do with myself during the NBA All-Star break, and when the University of Utah has sports away, I don't know how I live my life. So
that's totally fair. I work at the Utah Jazz Arena, and it's really weird to not work there for a week, just having that All-Star break off. But yeah, no, let's jump right in and get started. We have a lot of Utah sports to talk about. First off, I'm going to start off with men's and women's tennis. The men dropped two really close matchups. They lost 3-4 against Denver, and they lost 3-4 against New Mexico. And then the women tennis, they beat UC Irvine. They dominate performance. They swept them 4-0, and then they lost 2-4 against Loyola Marymount. So that is what happened. That's what's happening with men's and women's tennis. Cole, what's going on with men's basketball? What's going on with those road struggles here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Utah lost both their games this week in Oregon. Unfortunately, their road record's 1-7. I think they're trying to figure out really what's going on because their home record is fantastic.
10-1.
10-1, and so it's trying to figure out, is it the crowd? Is it the opposing crowd? Is it the unfamiliar situation?
Is it the young team?
Yeah,
there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Absolutely,
exactly.
Playing on the road is absolutely not easy, so it's tough.
For sure. But the Utes did take on Oregon State first off this week. They did lose 70-51. Bright spot for the Utes was Brandon Carlson, who continues to shine. 13 points, 8 rebounds. The young guy getting it done, especially on the defensive boards. And then looking on to the next game, they lost to number 17 ranked Oregon. Sunday night, 80-62. Despite the fact that there were three Utes in double figures in scoring, they just couldn't seem to get it done. So, unfortunately, the Utes are really good at home, but on the road they can't seem to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's definitely a struggle for them. But we hope that they beat UCLA tonight. It's at 8:30 p.m., and hopefully they continue that home game stretch. So let's move on. We're going to talk about some softball here. February 13th, they beat Ole Miss with a 5-4 win. They jumped out to an early 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Only for the Rebels to come back and soar, but they won that game there. So then they lost to Texas, number 6 ranked Texas. They lost 3-2. They were winning 2-0. They were up, but then they surrendered 3 runs, and then they lost to a walk-off double to right center, unfortunately. And then later that day, they lost to number 12th ranked Tennessee, 8-5. They jumped out to a 1-0 lead, but in the first inning, they found themselves losing 2-1 when they came back to bat in the top of the 5th inning. Then the Volunteers, they scored 5 runs at the bottom of the 5th, gave them a 7-4 lead, and then would stretch to 8-4, and then the Utes would fall. And then they beat Colorado State 3-0. It was a great win for them. And then versus the Mexican national team, they lost 2-0.
Interesting matchup.
Yeah, they had a really good start to the season, the 5-0 in the Cajicao Classic, but then they fall to a couple of really good teams, a couple of good ranked teams there. So.
Yeah, I think a positive outlook. This is number 6 team, number 12 team, and they're close losses. It's a one-run loss
by any means.
It's a one-run loss to Texas. A 3-run loss to Tennessee. There's a lot of positives to take out despite the losses.
Absolutely, and I think the future is bright for Utah softball. So let's move right along to Utah ski. The 14th, they had a couple of finishers on the podium. They had Samuel Henry, Guro Jordheim, and Maria Brittle all finish in the podium in the freestyle races. Utah to a 29-point lead after the first day with 190 points. And then Maximum Blee overcame a broken pole to win his first career race. And then Utah held a 70-point lead over the second place Alaska Anchorage. So the ski team just continues to dominate. They're incredible. So
yeah, growing up with mountains like this in the backyard, you got to expect Utah to be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, guys, moving on to baseball. Baseball's had a little bit of a rough start off this season, 1-3. They did have looked like a 3-game stretch against UC Davis. Mm-hmm. They lost game 1, 6-4. Both teams were scoreless until the 6th inning when Utah did have 3 runs, but unfortunately, still losing 6-4. Game 2, they allowed a lot of runs in this one, 15-8.
Yeah, that is quite the offensive game there. 15 runs scored for Utah. And, they're lucky that they scored those 15 runs because usually with the opposing team scoring 8 runs, you might not get so lucky there. So
yeah, the other team might want to change their pitcher. But so a good win on that game, too, but then lost game 3, 6-5. The Aggies scored first 6 runs in the first 3 innings. Utah did rally in the 7th inning to score 5 runs, but it just wasn't enough. They weren't able to complete that comeback. But, again, close. Lots of things they can improve on, and hopefully try to flip that season around as they are 1-3.
Yeah, hopefully, the baseball team can turn it around there. But like I said, I think the future looks good for them. They didn't have their losses were close, right? I mean, it wasn't. They weren't getting blown out by any means. So, moving on to women's basketball. The women's basketball team got very trounced, I should say, by number 8 Stanford, 97-64. Stanford finished the half with a 22-point lead after shooting 65% from the floor. Stanford women's basketball has always been just extremely dominant throughout the years, and so not really a surprise there.
Yeah,
but
you're not going to beat a team that's shooting 65%. 2/3 of the shots going down.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. And Utah, they couldn't quite finish there. They lost to Cal, 88-74. It was tight through the first half though. They erased a 16-point deficit coming out of halftime. And then Utah held to just 3 field goals in the 4th, and Cal just closed things out. Utah just couldn't get it done there. The Utes fall to 5-9 in Pac-12 play, 12-13 on the season after the weekend. So, it's the Pac-12. Pac-12 basketball is extremely competitive. It has been consistently throughout the years, and so
you win some, you lose some. You might take a game that you're not expected to, and then next game you're dropping one to someone that you definitely should beat. So
absolutely.
It is difficult.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're moving on to on a brighter note. The Utah gymnastics team is currently ranked 3rd in the country, tied with UCLA. And Cole, why don't you tell us a little bit about how they did against Oregon State?
Yeah, so gymnastics knows how to sell out the Huntsman Center. They have done that several times this year. They were able to beat number 21 Oregon State with a score of 197.1 to 196.275. Utah posted a season high on their vault performance, which is pretty fantastic, with 49.425. And our freshman O'Keefe was named the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. She was able to post a season best 9.975 on the beam. And like you said, Utes are going to UCLA. Both teams tied for 3rd place in the nation.
Does not get any closer than that.
I can't say I've ever seen that before. I don't know how they do a tie. Just make one 3 and 4. Make the Utes 3 and UCLA 4, and we'll take them this weekend.
I guess they're just that evenly matched there. I mean, and they are playing UCLA on Sunday. It's going to be a nationally televised game on ESPN. It should be a great meet to look forward to there.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that one. Moving on from there, we'll go ahead and cover the lacrosse game that took place. Lacrosse has been able to play a couple games at Rice-Eccles Stadium, which has been a lot of fun. I think they posted the 4th most attended game this last week with over 2,000 fans, which
that's incredible.
That's pretty incredible for your second season.
That's really impressive. I remember covering their story, lacrosse going from a club team to a Division I team. Now, you're right, just their second season, and now they've gained so much attention. That's great.
Yeah. So I was in attendance at this game, and it was impressive. They welcomed number 17 Air Force to Rice-Eccles. The Utes actually led after 1. They rallied 5 goals, but the Falcons were able to tie it up to half, and it was tied going into the 4th. And Air Force proved why they're ranked number 17.
Yeah.
They scored too early in the 4th, and Utah could only come up with 1 goal. It was interesting, too, the intensity. Utah seemed like they had it. Air Force stomped back. It went back and forth, a couple lead changes. Some amazing goals. We had a diving goal from behind the net. We had a goal at the buzzer. They made a pass from behind the net. He shot it right at the buzzer. It goes in. And one of those goals was scored by Jimmy Perkins, who actually netted 4 goals on the day.
Wow. He was the star of the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely.
And following the game, head coach Brian Holman mentioned the team ran some actually scripted plays that they had been working on at practice. And he admitted the Falcons' defense just came up strong, and even though the Utes had the last 2 possessions of the game, they just couldn't put it away and tie it.
Yeah, it's always tough when you go up there and then Air Force just came back and just put the game away for them. So And then the last sport that we are going to talk about is golf. They opened their season this weekend with the John A. Burns Intercollegiate, which will take place in the Wailea Golf Course in Hawaii. Lucky them.
I need to figure out how to join the golf.
Yeah, seriously though. The Utes, they have the 5-man roster. They got Mitchell Show, Tristan Mandor, Blake Tomlinson, Oscar Maxfield, and Alex Innerson. The true freshman Jesper Von Reitz will be competing as well for the Utes, but only as an individual and not a member of that 5-team roster. And best of luck to the Utes as they get their 2020 season underway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a better place to start off the season than in
Hawaii.
Warm and beautiful
Yes.
Hawaii. So, yeah, best of luck to them. Hopefully they can see a lot of success.
Yeah, and that's all we have for all of the short sports. Cole, what are you most looking forward to this week?
I'd have to say I'm looking forward to another lacrosse game.
Okay.
They're going to be welcoming Furman University, I believe, on Saturday at noon at Rice Eccles Stadium. I believe this is the last game that's going to take place at Rice Eccles. It's been a great environment so far.
Good.
Like I said, I was in attendance last game. It's a lot of fun to watch.
That's awesome. And yeah, and I worked the lacrosse games last year, and they were at Judge Memorial Catholic High School. And so moving from that high school, field to Rice Eccles is fantastic. So that's awesome. Well, that is all we have for short sports today. I am Gianna Cephalou. This is Cole Bagley, and we will see you guys next Thursday.